This is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to this week's Hidden Wealth Solution Review. Well, I want to talk to you about how to avoid the 10-year tax squeeze. That's for those of you that are stuck having to have these inherited required distributions. That was the blessing of inheriting these IRAs from your family, but now you can't Roth converted inherited IRA, and now with the new rules of this year, you have to take distributions if your parents that left you the IRA had already started taking distributions. If they hadn't started taking distributions because they met the age that the government forced them to, you can wait to up to 10 years, but don't get caught in that 10-year tax squeeze because, folks, it's going to cost you a fortune. And let me give you an example. I want you to go to taxessave.com if you want to learn how to save taxes. And let me give you an example of why that's so important today. We had somebody just like you watching this now that went to taxessave.com, requested a saving tax optimization plan, and really not only opened their eyes, it opened our eyes. And here's what we learned from this experience, right? We had a gentleman by the name of Ralph that reached us this week who's 80 years old. He said, Chuck, I've been retired for 9 years, and because the government forces me to take money out of these IRAs and I need it to live on, some of you do, some of you don't, Ralph did. He goes, I'm making more money now in retirement than the money that I made when I was working, which means I'm paying more taxes, Chuck, and I need help. Well, he also wants to refer his adult kids because he doesn't want his kids to follow the same pattern. And his kids don't want him to continue to have these IRAs because that's going to force them to have these inherited IRAs. So what I want to teach you is why you don't want to leave inherited IRAs to your kids, because it's going to force more tax on your kids, right? At the time we expire is at about the time our adult children are in their peak wage earning years and they're getting ready to retire, which means giving them the inheritance, which is great, also gave them Uncle Sam to take a big portion of more of not just what you left them, but what they're making themselves, and it causes a huge, huge tax burden. Well, what I want to teach you with 83 trillion transferring over the next 20 years from one generation to the next, is called the Great Wealth Transfer, is about 22 trillion of that is an IRA and 401k, which is a ticking tax time bomb. And I want to ask you a question. Do you have a portfolio or do you have a plan that's a written plan that is addressing taxation, legacy preservation, and avoiding tax confiscation? Because some of the do-it-yourselfers that are listening, some of you that are saying, look, I manage this, or I've had the same person, but they don't talk about taxes, folks. Missing taxes will take advantage of you. I want to teach you how to take advantage of taxes. Go to taxessave.com. That's taxessave.com. And imagine, like this gentleman, I'll call this gentleman Steve. Steve visited with us by getting a saving tax optimization plan, by going to taxessave.com. He was able to learn that by waiting for his account to go up 10% would cost another $300,000 of taxes. By waiting for his account to go up another 20% will cost him another $600,000 of taxes. And by learning one strategy of how to create a 4 1/4 tax deduction. So imagine using $125,000 to create a $500,000 tax deduction, and by converting half of his million of IRA and 401k to Roth, will save him over $1.2 million, he and his family. And by learning that, he said, look, I just want to be out of the tax system. I thought I was going to have to pay a bunch of tax. Folks, whether you have a systematic Roth conversion strategy or you have a total tax elimination Roth conversion strategy, you will save an absorbent amount of taxes. But I want you to imagine just removing taxes altogether from your income and your assets, because it is possible. This is how Donald Trump, this is how Jeff Bezos, this is how Bill Gates, this is how Warren Buffett don't pay taxes. Imagine. Taxessave.com, taxessaved.com.